Darinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We continue reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 5, text 18. This is a very famous verse of Bhagavad Gita, very well quoted many times. Vidya Vinaya Sampane,
Vidya Vinaya Sampane,
Brahmane Kavi Hastini,
Brahmane Gavihastini,
Shuni Cheva Shvapake Cha,
Shuni Cheva Shwapake Cha,
Pandita Samadarshinaha.
Pandita Shamadarshina. I'll read.
Yes.
Yeah. Translation. The humble sages, by virtue of true knowledge, see with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater, outcast. Purport. The Krishna conscious person does not make any distinction between species or castes. The Brahmana and the outcast may be different from the social point of view, or a dog, a cow, and an elephant may be different from the point of view of species, but these differences of body are meaningless from the viewpoint of a learned transcendentalist. This is due to their relationship to the Supreme, for the Supreme Lord, by his plenary position as a Paramatma, is present in everyone's heart. Such an understanding of the Supreme is real knowledge. As far as the bodies are concerned, in different castes or different species of life, the Lord is equally kind to everyone because he treats every living being as a friend, yet maintains himself as Paramatma regardless of the circumstances of the living entities. The Lord, as Paramatma, is present both in the outcast and in the Brahmana, although the body of a Brahmana and that of an outcast are not the same. The bodies are material productions of different modes of material nature, but the soul and the super soul within the body are of the same spiritual quality. The similarity in the quality of the soul and the super soul, however, does not make them equal in quantity, for the individual soul is present only in the particular body, whereas the Paramatma is present in each and every body. A Krishna conscious person has full knowledge of this, and therefore he is truly learned and has equal vision. The similar characteristics of the soul and super soul are that they are both conscious, eternal, and blissful. But the difference is that the individual soul is conscious within the limited jurisdiction of the body, whereas the super soul is conscious of all bodies. The super soul is present in all bodies without distinction.
So here Krishna is saying the learned Brahmana, who's actually who is a, 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 a sage, a sadhu, the pure devotee. How does he see everyone? He sees because he has knowledge, true knowledge. He has the transcendental knowledge. So he sees everyone equally. Doesn't matter what body they are in. They may be in the body of a brahmana, cow, elephant, dog eater. He sees everyone equal. That he sees everyone as a spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna. It's not that he goes and if he sees a tiger, it's not that he goes and embraces a tiger. Of course, when he sees a brahmana, learned and gentle brahmana, then he's going to go and embrace him. But he's not going to embrace a tiger. That he knows how to deal with different living entities differently. But the way he sees them with knowledge, he understands that everyone is a soul, part and parcel of Krishna, and that the super soul, the Paramatma, is there in everyone's heart. So how many souls are inside our body?
One.
So one is us, we are the soul, and also there is the super soul.
Super soul, yeah.
The Paramatma is also there.
Yeah.
So there is the soul, we are there, and Paramatma. So Paramatma is in your heart, in whoever we are in the meeting, in everyone's heart. And Paramatma is in the heart of all the other living entities, the trees, the fish, all the human beings. You see, the soul, we can be in one body at one time. We can be in one place at one time. We cannot be in two places. I cannot be in your body. I'm only in my body. But the Paramatma can be in everyone's body at the same time. So, how many Paramatmas are there right now? For example, if we are five in the meeting, so how many Paramatmas are there in this meeting?
Only one.
That's right, only one. Paramatma is one. He's not divided. Thank you. Yeah. We living entities, we are minute. So we can be in one place at one time. But Paramatma, because he's unlimited, he can be in everyone's heart at the same time. That's the and the our what do we say? Quality. Quality is the same. Soul, we are Satchidananda, you know. The quality is the same. Paramatma Satchidananda. Because both are spirit souls. Both are spiritual, no? But the quantity is completely different. Quantity, we are minute, whereas Paramatma, he is unlimited. He is in everyone's heart. Everyone's heart. So a pure devotee, he has knowledge of this. And that's how he doesn't see the different bodies. He understands everyone is a part and parcel of Krishna. He doesn't make distinction on the body. But again, as I said, doesn't make distinction on the body, but doesn't mean that he um, has the same, what do we say, behavior with everyone. He's not going to go and embrace a tiger, even though he understands the tiger is a soul and super soul is sitting within. So he knows how to deal with different people differently. So this is a pure devotee, a sadhu. He's not making differences. What we do, we will see differences. Oh, there are so many different bodies, seeing on the base of the body. But the sadhu, he sees everyone part and parcel of Krishna, be it an animal or a fish or a tree or a human being, everyone as part and parcel. And then the Paramatma is there with that. So see, the Paramatma is so kind. He follows us. We may be in the body of a human being or we may be in the body of the pig. The, the Paramatma is there with us in both the bodies. So the Paramatma is the true friend of every living entity. We are thinking we are the best friend. We are thinking that, oh, I'm everyone's best friend, but actually, Krishna is everyone's best friend. And that's the reason he's coming. He is with us as his Paramatma feature. Krishna is everyone's best friend. So, really, Iheva ter jita sargo,
Eva te jit sargo.
yesham samye sthitam manaha,
Yesham samye sthitam manah.
nirdosham hi samam brahma,
Nirdosham hi samam brahma.
tasmad brahmani te sthitaha.
Tasman brahmani te stitata. Translation. Those whose minds are established in sameness and equanimity have already conquered the conditions of birth and death. They are flawless like Brahman, and thus they are already situated in Brahman. Equanimity of mind, as mentioned above, is a sign of self realization. Those who have actually attained to such a stage should be considered to have conquered material conditions, especially birth and death. As long as one identifies with this body, he is considered a conditioned soul. But as soon as he is elevated to the stage of equanimity through realization of self, he is liberated from conditional life. In other words, he is no longer subject to take birth in the material world, but can enter into the spiritual sky after his death. The Lord is flawless because he is without attraction or hatred. Similarly, when a living entity is without attraction or hatred, he also becomes flawless and eligible to enter into the spiritual sky. Such persons are to be considered already liberated, and their symptoms are described below.
Equanimity of mind, Krishna is saying. They are on the liberated platform. Conquered conditions of birth and death means uh, liberated. Flawless like Brahman means already realized their spiritual position, situated in Brahman. In understanding, I am Brahman, I am the soul. So this is the position of the pure devotee. Pure devotees like that. Equanimity of the mind. What happens is, as still, because we are thinking we are the body, so our mind gets disturbed. We are always, the material world is changing. Every time there is a change, and we are identifying with the body, we are identifying everything around us we see as mind. And with the changes that occur, our mind gets very disturbed. That is our conditioning. But as soon as we come to the platform of Brahman, understanding I am the spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna, then can go back home, back to Godhead. So how can we come to this position to understand that I am the spirit soul. I am not this body. I am part and parcel of Krishna. That is liberated platform already. How we can come to this platform? By hearing and chanting. Hearing Krishna Katha, chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Hearing from the devotees from Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, we will come to this platform. न प्रहर्षयेत् प्रियं प्राप्य
न पश्येत् प्रियं प्राप्य
नोद्विजेत् प्राप्य च प्रियं
नोद्विजेत् प्राप्य च प्रियं
स्थिरा बुद्धिरसम्मुद्धो
स्थिरा बुद्धिरसम्मुद्धो
ब्रह्मविद् ब्रह्मणि स्थितः.
ब्रह्म with Brahmani Sthita. Translation: a person who neither rejoices upon achieving something pleasant nor laments upon obtaining something unpleasant, who is self intelligent, who is unbewildered, and who knows the science of God, is already situated in transcendence. The symptoms of the self realized person are given herein. The first symptom is that he is not illusioned by the false identification of the body with his true self. He knows perfectly well that he is not this body, but is a fragmental portion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is therefore not joyful in achieving something, nor does he lament in losing anything which is related to his body. This steadiness of mind is called Sthira Buddhi or self intelligence. He is therefore never bewildered by mistaking the gross body for the soul, nor does he accept the body as permanent and disregard the existence of the soul. This knowledge elevates him to the station of knowing the complete science of the absolute truth, namely Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. He thus knows his constitutional position perfectly well, without falsely trying to become one with the Supreme in all respects. This is called Brahman realization or self realization. Such steady consciousness is called Krishna consciousness.
So Krishna is saying here, the pure devotee. The pure devotee He is completely understood. What he has understood, that I'm not this body, I am part and parcel of Krishna. So he's no more thinking that, we are thinking I'm this body, this identity, I'm a human being, the upadhi. We are thinking I'm a human being, uh, I'm male or female, I'm born in this country or community or society, I belong here. I'm a husband or a wife or a child or a adult like that. But the pure devotee, he's not illusioned by all these upadhis. He understands I am spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna. So he does not identify himself with the body. And so that's why he's not concerned if something on the material platform, if there is something joyful is happening, nor does he lament. Because he's fixed. His consciousness is fixed. He's completely understood his position. It's not the steadiness of mind. He's steady in his consciousness. This can be achieved when he's attained his Krishna consciousness. So he never thinks that, oh, I am this body. He never disregards the soul. He's completely understanding. I am the soul. And so he is understanding I am the soul, part and parcel of Krishna. So he's understanding the knowledge, the science of absolute truth. He's understanding what is the Brahman, the Brahma Jyoti that we see. The light. Everyone speaks of the light. What is the light? Where is it coming from? He understands that the light is the effulgence coming from Krishna's body, because that's all the Shastras are saying that. The light, the Brahman, that is the effulgence of Krishna's body. The Sri Upanishad mantra 15 is the devotee is praying that, my dear Lord, kindly remove this glaring light because I'm not able to see. All I'm seeing is the light. So kindly remove it from my vision so I can see your beautiful face, your beautiful smiling face. Because this Brahma Jyoti, like how's the sunshine when the sun is really blazing and we try to look up in the sky, we see only the sunshine. We are not able to see the sun. But does it mean that the sun is not there? That only the sunshine is there? What do you think?
No, the sun is there, of course.
Right? That's the reason the sunshine is there,
Yeah.
isn't it? So, yeah, so we may not be able to see Krishna and we may be able to understand only of the Brahmajyoti. But the scriptures tell us this Brahmajyoti is coming, is the effulgence, is the bodily rays of Krishna. And Paramatma is a feature by which Krishna is pervading this entire universe or the entire material world. He's entered into every atom of this material world. He's entering into the heart of every living entity. That's how he's pervading by his Paramatma feature. So the pure devotee, he's completely realized his constitutional position. He's completely understood I am eternal servant of Krishna. This consciousness is Krishna consciousness. It's a liberated platform. This is liberation. And he acts on that liberated platform. He engages in pure devotional service. Krishna says in the chapter 18 that on this liberated platform, one engages in pure devotional service. So liberation is not the end, it's a beginning of real life. Our real life as spirit souls begins from the point of liberation. Any questions or comments? Bhaya sparshesab asaktatma
Bhaya Sparsheva Asakatma
vindati atmani yat sukham
Vindati Atmani Yat Sukham
sa brahma yoga yuktatma
Sa Brahma Yoga Yuktatma
sukham ashak akshayam ashnute.
Sukham akshayam ashnate. Translation. Such a liberated person is not attracted to material sense pleasure, but is always in trance enjoying the pleasure within it. In this way, the self-realized person enjoys unlimited happiness, for he concentrates on the Supreme. Purport. Sri Yamunacharya, a great devotee in Krishna consciousness, said, Yat avadhi mama cheta Krishna patara vinde nava nava rasha dhamani udyatam ratum asit. Tad avadhi bata nari sangame स्मर्य yamane bhavati mukha vikara sushtu nishti vanam cha. Since I have been engaged in the transcendental loving service of Krishna, realizing ever new pleasure in him, whatever I think of sex pleasure, I spit at the thought and my lips curl with distaste. A person in Brahma Yoga or Krishna consciousness is so absorbed in the loving service of the Lord that he loses his taste for material sense pleasure altogether. The highest pleasure in terms of matter is sex pleasure. The whole world is moving under its spell, and a materialist cannot work at all without this motivation. But a person engaged in Krishna consciousness can work with greater vigor without sex pleasure, which he avoids. That is the test in spiritual realization. Spiritual realization and sex pleasure go ill together. A Krishna conscious person is not attracted to any kind of sense pleasure due to his being a liberated soul.
So Krishna has been giving the symptoms of the pure devotee. So he's saying that this pure devotee, he's not attracted to anything material, no material pleasure. We are in the material world because we want to enjoy this material world. We are getting pleasure out of this material world. That's why we are here. But the self-realized soul, the pure devotee, he's understood that there is higher pleasure in devotional service. He's experiencing a higher pleasure. That's the reason he is able to not feel the pleasure of the material world. Prabhupada is saying the highest pleasure of the material world is sex pleasure. And even that cannot attract the pure devotee because he's experiencing much more higher pleasure in, in his relationship with Krishna. So soul is always seeking happiness, enjoyment, because that's the nature. So the pure devotee is experiencing the highest pleasure in Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness allows the soul to experience eternal pleasure, not that sometimes there's pleasure, sometimes suffering, but allows the soul to feel unlimited pleasure. Yehi samsparsha chaboga
ये हि संपर्क च भोगा
dukkha yonaya evate
दुःखयोनय एव ते
adi antavanta kaunteya
आदि अन्तवन्त कौन्तेय
na teshu ramate buddha.
न तेषु रमते बुधा. Translation. An intelligent person does not take part in the sources of misery, which are due to contact with the material senses. O son of Kunti, such pleasures have a beginning and an end, and so the wise man does not delight in them. Purport. Material sense pleasures are due to the contact of the material senses, which are all temporary because the body itself is temporary. A liberated soul is not interested in anything which is temporary. Knowing well the joys of transcendental pleasures, how can a liberated soul agree to enjoy false pleasure? In the Padma Purana, it is said, Ramante yogino nante satyanande chit atmani iti rama paddenasho param Brahma Vidyate. The mystics derive unlimited transcendental pleasures from the absolute truth, and therefore the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, is known as Rama. In the Srimad Bhagavatam also it is said, Nayam deho deha bhajam nir loke kastan kaman arhate with bhujam ye. Tapo divyam putraka yena satvam sudhyat yasmad brahma Sakyatam Sav Anantam. My dear sons, there is no reason to labor very hard for sense pleasure while in this human form of life. Such pleasures are available to the stool eaters, hogs. Rather, you should undergo penances in this life by which your existence will be purified, and as a result, you will be able to enjoy unlimited transcendental bliss. Therefore, who are true yogis or learned transcendentalists are not attracted by sense pleasures, which are the causes of continuous material existence. The more one is addicted to material pleasures, the more he is entrapped by material miseries.
So then Krishna says that the pure devotee is intelligent. He intelligent, that he understands that the pleasures of the material world are temporary. We can experience our pleasures here in the material world are temporary. And also they can cause us a lot of suffering too. But but the pleasure in Krishna consciousness, he's already experienced a higher taste. When we have something more of a better quality, when we get used to something of a better quality, then it's easy for us to give up something of the lower quality, isn't it? It could be like we get a faster phone, faster internet. Then we're like, why should I go back to the what was that initial, got the name. So how first we started with the internet. So why would we go back to this? Now we have like optic fiber and I don't know what not speeds are there. Why would we go back to that? So the pure devotee, he is experiencing so much pleasure in devotional service, in his relationship with Krishna. He's not interested in this material pleasures. He understands material pleasures are temporary and they are also sources of misery. We think that the material pleasure is very good. That's what's keeping us here. We want to enjoy this material pleasure, but it's a false pleasure. Why? Because we are not the body, we are the soul. So truly, the soul can be happy only in Krishna consciousness. Like if when the fish is out of the water, we try to take the fish out of the water, and then, of course, the fish suffers. Then we say, no, no, maybe he's suffering, needs a five-star hotel, take him to the five-star hotel, still suffering. Okay, they give him a nice facial, nice massage, still suffering. Let him hear nice live music, but still the suffering is there. But the easiest way to get free of the suffering, put him back in the ocean, in the water. The fish is joyful. Similarly, we are over here, we are attracted to these false pleasures, material pleasures. But because we are spirit souls, we need to be in the spiritual atmosphere. And so we need, and then once we are in the spiritual atmosphere, there's no more suffering. There's no more. So the more we hear and chant, we will experience this transcendental pleasure. Hearing about Krishna, chanting the holy name will enable us to experience this higher pleasure and we will be able to give up the lower one. Bhagavatam is also telling us to do that. Bhagavatam is saying that, all the sense pleasures you can enjoy in the other bodies also, but you have the human body now. So experience this higher pleasure of Krishna consciousness. Make it so that you can go back home, back to Godhead in this very life. by continuously hearing about Krishna and chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Shaknoti, Shaknoti heva yasodhum
Saknoti haiva sodhum
praksharira vimokshana
prak sarira vimoksana
kama krodod bhavam vegam
kama krodha bhavam vegam
sayukta sasukhi naraha.
sayukta sa sukhinara. Translation. Before giving up this present body, if one is able to tolerate the urges of the material senses and check the force of desire and anger, he is well situated and is happy in this world. If one wants to make steady progress on the path of self-realization, he must try to control the forces of the material senses. These are the forces of talk, forces of anger, forces of mind, forces of the stomach, forces of the genitals, and forces of the tongue. One who is able to control the forces of all these different senses and the mind is called Goswami or Swami. Such Goswamis live strictly controlled life and forego altogether the forces of the senses. Material desires, when unsatiated, generate anger, and thus the mind, eyes, and the chest become agitated. Therefore, one must practice to control them before one gives up this material body. One who can do this is understood to be self-realized and is thus happy in the state of self-realization. It is the duty of the transcendentalist to try strenuously to control desire and anger.
Krishna is saying to control our material desire and anger. Why do we get angry? We get angry because we have a desire which does not get fulfilled. So that creates anger. When that desire is fulfilled, it makes us more greedy, lusty. It builds up more and more. And when it's not fulfilled, we get angry. So Krishna is saying, control it before you leave the body. So the devotee for him, the control of mind and senses happens automatically because his mind and senses are engaged in Krishna's service. So automatically his mind and senses are controlled. His mind is fixed on thinking about Krishna, Krishna's words, and his senses are engaged in serving Krishna, hearing about Krishna, chanting the holy name. So gradually, already the purification of the heart is happening. The material desires the seeds of material desire are being burned from the heart when one chants the Hare Krishna mantra. So yet we practice to be able to do such things. And in the association of devotees helps. And so Krishna is also saying, come to that platform, come to this platform to control our speech. We want to talk. How we can control it? Talk about Krishna. Forces of anger. As we said, anger comes because we have some desire which is unfulfilled. So the more we chant the holy name, the more it helps us to give up those desires. Yeah. Forces of the mind, if we can fix the mind on Krishna. Forces of the stomach, if we have Krishna Prasad. So we can see how automatically all the all these forces are controlled by engaging in devotional service and becoming Krishna conscious. Yo anta sukho antaratma ramas
Yo anta sukho antar aramas
Rathantar Jyotir Evaya.
तथांतर ज्योतिरेव या
स योगी ब्रह्म निर्वाणम
स योगी ब्रह्म निर्वाणम
ब्रह्म भूतोऽधिगच्छति.
ब्रह्म भूतोऽधिगच्छते. Translation: one whose happiness is within, who is active and rejoices within, and whose aim is inward, is actually the perfect mystic. He is liberated in the Supreme, and ultimately he attains the Supreme. Unless one is able to relish happiness from within, how can one retire from the external engagement meant for deriving superficial happiness? A liberated person enjoys happiness by factual experience. He can, therefore, sit silently at any place and enjoy the activities of life from within. Such a liberated person no longer desires external material happiness. This state is called Brahmabhota, attaining which one is assured of going back to Godhead back to home.
The symptom of the liberated person is understood that I'm a spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna. He understands I'm not this body. So he's not seeking pleasure from this material world. He's he is experiencing a much higher pleasure by his realization that I am the spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna. He's experiencing a great joy, much higher than he's able to experience in material pleasures. So Brahma Bhuta platform, this is liberated platform, Brahma Bhuta. And the devotee continues to hear and chant at this place, at this position. He never stops his hearing and chanting. He continues and goes back home, back to Godhead. So he's understood his position as part and parcel of Krishna. That's how he's happy. He's understood I'm spirit soul. He's understood I'm not the body. So he's not seeking pleasure in the material world. He's experiencing a higher pleasure. Labante Brahma Nirvanam
Labhante Brahma Nirvanam
Rashaya Shina Kalmasaha
Kaya Kishina Kalmasa
Chinna Dvaidha Yayatmanaha
Chinna Dvaid Yatat Mana
Sarvabhuta Hite Rataha.
Sarvabhuta Hite Rata. Translation: those who are beyond the dualities that arise from doubts, whose minds are engaged within, who are always busy working for the welfare of all living beings, and who are free from all sins, achieve liberation in the Supreme. Only a person who's fully in Krishna consciousness can be said to be engaged in welfare work for all living entities. When a person is actually in the knowledge that Krishna is the fountainhead of everything, then when he acts in the spirit, he acts for everyone. The sufferings of humanity are due to forgetfulness of Krishna as the supreme enjoyer, the supreme proprietor, and the supreme friend. Therefore, to act to revive this consciousness within the entire human society is the highest welfare work. One cannot be engaged in such first class welfare work without being liberated in the Supreme. A Krishna conscious person has no doubt about the supremacy of Krishna. He has no doubt because he is completely freed from all sins. This is the state of divine love. A person engaged only in ministering to the physical welfare of human society cannot actually help anyone. Temporary relief of the external body and the mind is not satisfactory. The real cause of one's difficulties in the hard struggle for life may be found in one's forgetfulness of his relationship with the Supreme Lord. When a man is fully conscious of his relationship with Krishna, he is actually a liberated soul, although he may be in a material tabernacle.
So then Krishna is saying that the pure devotee is actually the doing welfare for everyone, for all living beings. Mm. he is on the liberated platform. He's revived his eternal relationship with Krishna, and he's working so that others can revive their relationship with Krishna. He's experiencing the highest bliss in his relationship with Krishna. And so he's working in a way so that others can also realize their relationship with Krishna. He's giving Krishna consciousness to others. He understands that our suffering is because we have forgotten our relationship with Krishna, our eternal relationship with Krishna. And because we have forgotten that, we are suffering. We have forgotten that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, supreme proprietor, and our best friend. But the pure devotee, he knows this. And he knows we can truly be happy when we can be situated in our relationship with Krishna. And that's the reason he's working so hard to give us Krishna consciousness. Wherever he goes, he's giving Krishna to everyone, encouraging everyone to hear about Krishna. Every time he's speaking about Krishna, glorifying Krishna, he's chanting the holy name. He's working to revive our consciousness, to revive the consciousness of every living entity, because he knows that we will not stop suffering till the time we are not situated in our relationship with Krishna. He himself has um, revived his relationship. So he himself is liberated. The pure devotee is liberated, and he is the highest welfare worker because he's looking to permanently stop our suffering. We may help others, we may help someone for their physical needs or their mental needs, but that's not going to stop them to come back to the material world. But if we can give Krishna consciousness to someone, if we can encourage others to chant the holy name, then that can help them to stop the cycle of birth and death. So it doesn't mean that we don't care for others' physical or mental needs. We do, we care, we help them in whatever way that is needed, but also give Krishna consciousness to everyone, because that can really stop everyone's suffering. And that's why Lord Chaitanya also says, Yare dekha tare kaha Krishna upadesh. Wherever you go, whoever you meet, you speak about Krishna. It's Lord Chaitanya's desire, it's Krishna's desire. Because Krishna wants everyone to come back home. He does not want us to be here. The easiest way that we can revive our relationship with Krishna is by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. So the pure devotee, that's how they are working to give us Krishna consciousness. So the pure devotee, he may be in the material world, he may be in the body, but he is liberated because he's understood his position, his constitutional position. He's understood his relationship with Krishna. He's realized his relationship with Krishna. So he's working in that consciousness. He's Krishna conscious. And that's the liberated platform. And that is the platform of every living entity. That's the consciousness of every living entity, Krishna consciousness. Kama Krodha Vimuktanam
Kama Krodha Vimuktanam
Yatinam Yatachetasam
Yatinam Yata Chetasam
Abhito Brahma Nirvanam
Abhito Brahma Nirvanam
Vartate Viditatmanam.
Vartate Vidhitatmanam. Translation: those who are free from anger and all material desires, who are self-reliant, self-disciplined, and constantly endeavoring for perfection, are assured of liberation in the Supreme in the very near future. Of the saintly persons who are constantly engaged in striving towards salvation, one who is in Krishna consciousness is the best of all. The Bhagavatam confirmed this fact as follows. Yat Pada Pankaja Palasha Vilasha Bhaktya Karmashayam Gratitam Utgrathayanti Santa Tadvan Rikta Matayo Yatayo Pirudha Troto Ganastam Aranam Bhaja Vasudevam. Just just try to worship in devotional service Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even great sages are not able to control the forces of the senses as effectively as those who are engaged in transcendental bliss by serving the lotus feet of the Lord, uprooting the deep grown desire for fruitive activities. In the conditioned soul, the desire to enjoy the fruitive results of work is so deep rooted that it is very difficult even for the great sages to control such desires, despite great endeavors. A devotee of the Lord, constantly engaged in devotional service in Krishna consciousness, perfect in self realization, very quickly attains liberation in the Supreme. Owing to this complete knowledge in self realization, he always remains in trance. To cite an analogous example of this, Darshana Dhyana Parasait, Matsya Kurma Vigannama Swani Apatyani Ushnanti Tataham Api Padmaja. By vision, by meditation, and by touch, only do the fish, the tortoise, and the birds maintain their offspring. Similarly, do I also, O Padmaja. The fish brings up its offspring simply by looking at them. The tortoise brings up its offspring simply by meditation. The eggs of the tortoise are laid on land, and the tortoise meditates on the eggs while in the water. Similarly, the devotee in Krishna consciousness, always far away from the Lord's abode, can elevate himself to that abode simply by thinking of him constantly, by engagement in Krishna consciousness. He does not feel the pangs of material miseries. This state of life is called Brahma Nirvana, or the absence of material miseries due to being constantly immersed in the Supreme.
So then Krishna is again saying that the pure devotee, his senses are automatically controlled. He is self-disciplined. He's not angry. It's because he's experiencing a higher pleasure. He's already situated firmly in his relationship with Krishna. Bhagavatam is saying that just become a devotee of Krishna. Just try to worship in devotional service. Have bhakti for Krishna. And by that, automatically the senses will be controlled. And there are many examples, like how Durvasa Muni got angry at Ambarish Maharaj. Durvasa Muni, a great mistake, very powerful, very qualified personality. Yet he could not control his anger against Ambarish Maharaj, a pure devotee of the Lord. And Ambarish Maharaj tolerated everything. And how the Lord protected Ambarish Maharaj by putting Sudarshan Chakra to to cut the Rasamuni's throat, in fact, because the Rasamuni was being unjustly angry at Ambarish Maharaj, and the Lord actually protected Ambarish Maharaj. Or we see that um, how Haridas Thakur, even this most beautiful woman, Maya Devi herself came to Haridas Thakur. She could not entice him. He was so happy chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. He's so happy relishing the bliss that he was not concerned that Maya Devi herself came. But whereas Vishwamitra, great yogi, great sage, when Menaka came, he got distracted. So all the Shastras are telling us just try to worship Krishna, and automatically the senses will be controlled, and we can be situated in our real position, constitutional position of as eternal in our eternal relationship with Krishna, right? By hearing, constantly chanting. Devotional service begins by hearing, by chanting. And then Prabhupada is giving this example of the uh, that how the Lord says that how the The fish maintains their offspring by vision, the tortoise by meditation, and the birds by touch. The Lord is saying similarly, I also do the same. So Golok Vrindavan to us right now may be very far, far away. But simply by thinking of Krishna, by engaging in his devotional service, by becoming Krishna conscious, by hearing about Krishna, by chanting his name, we can go back there, back home, back to Godhead. And even while being in this material body, the pure devotee, because he is Krishna conscious, he does not feel the material miseries. He's liberated even while being in the body. He's a Jivan Mukta. He's attained Brahma Nirvana. He's situated in his original position, constitutional position as the soul. He does not identify himself with the body. And he's achieved this Krishna consciousness by engaging in devotional service. And devotional service begins by hearing and chanting. The more we hear Krishna Katha, the more we chant the holy name, the more we can be situated in Krishna consciousness. So we'll stop here for today. Are there any questions or comments?
No.
Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.